is like cards. It's not what you dealt, but how you play it. Play each situation correctly. I remember they used to laugh at a brother.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. It's your boy DELRAY, Richardson, platinum artist, platinum songwriter, Straight Game TV. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your time. Do me a favor. Click on the thumbs up button. It always is appreciated. If you have not subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. And like I always say, if you want to be one of the first people notified when I drop some of the straight game, please do me a favor and click on what appears to be that little bell notification right below this video. I'm going to get right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, there has been a lot of conversation over the years in regards to Suge Knight and what Suge Knight owed Tupac and what he didn't owe Tupac, right? And so, based on the information that I acquired when I showed you guys the contract that Tupac actually signed with Interscope and Atlantic Records before he was released from prison, it is a fact. And like I said, and I'm going to explain it to you, you know, how you get different information, and you have to change your perspective and what you thought at that particular time was true based on new information, right? And so when Tupac got out of jail, he signed this agreement. And now what most people fail to realize is Tupac's mom did not know about this agreement when Tupac was out. David Kenner was the attorney of record at that particular time, and he was the one responsible for negotiating and handling this agreement involving Tupac. So once Tupac gets out of jail, he's already signing a power of attorney to Atlantic Records and Interscope Records, which Tupac was already signed to prior to going to prison. Tupac was signed to Interscope prior to receiving his jail time, right? So now, Tupac gets killed in Vegas. After Tupac gets killed in Vegas, what people fail to realize and fail to remember is that on August 27th, 1996, David Kenner was fired also. And so by that being what that is, you take the 27th and you go up until Tupac was killed. David Kenner could no longer represent Tupac in any matters involving his the contracts or anything that he basically was hired to do at that particular time. Not only that, but it was also based on the information where there was a conflict of interest because David Kenner also represented Death Row, right? And so when Tupac passes away, his mom, not knowing about this contract in particular where Tupac signed over his power of attorney so that Atlantic and Interscope could basically handle the business that they needed to handle in reference to getting their money back, right? Afeni, may she rest in peace, her first thought was to sue Death Row, right? So she files a lawsuit against Death Row, not knowing about the truth and the facts involving the case with that contract. So her doing that. But you have to remember, shortly after that, who steps in? Jimmy Iovine steps in. And you remember, Suge Knight was in jail at this particular time, so he was in no power to negotiate anything. And that's under California law. If you're in prison, you can't run a corporation. And so when you understand that, you're going to understand, well, most people, you know, and it was duly noted that Mr. Kenner, David Kenner did not show up. And most people would say, well, if David Kenner was Tupac's lawyer and he signed the contract, this goes to show you the fact that David Kenner understood and knew that he was fired. There was nothing else that he could do. On side of it also being a conflict of interest and that coming out, and that would have been revealed also, if you will, from that perspective. And so what we thought as the public at that particular time, prior to the new information with this contract that Tupac signed coming out of jail, and what Afeni had sued for, was that Suge Knight had owed Tupac royalties of all of these millions of dollars, right? Which was fair. I mean, like I said, she was going after what she thought at that particular time was Tupac's royalties, Tupac's masters, and all of these things. And she was rightfully, she was right in doing so, period. Based on the information that she knew at that particular time, if you will. And so once she did that, here comes Jimmy Iovine, and here comes the facts and the truth behind the matter. And notice, no one from Death Row came to the meeting that they had involving the settlement of Tupac's affairs. Jimmy Iovine and Interscope basically, because like I said before, Afeni basically filed a cease and desist in regards to the Machiavelli album, right? They negotiated that because, once again, Interscope, not Death Row at that particular time, who negotiated the from underneath of the cease and desist? It was Interscope, right? Because Interscope had the power of attorney to be able to do that in that agreement that Tupac signed prior to getting out of prison. So if you understand that. So it is a fact, beyond any shadow of a doubt, that Suge Knight, not as a technicality, but as a legality, did not owe Tupac any money. He did not owe Tupac any royalties. The person who owed Tupac royalties was Interscope. And that was basically in the contract that Tupac signed prior to getting out of prison, because Tupac agreed basically to put up his publishing, right? And also the money that his record label, Out the Gutter Records, would receive. And like I said, if you go through the contract, you'll understand what I'm talking about. It's plain as day. And so from that perspective, like I said, new information, well, really not new information if you can comprehend. You know what I mean? So when you comprehend what the leak, so it is a fact that Suge Knight didn't owe Tupac any money. Now on the flip side of that, in accounting and all of the things that involved in accounting, in relation to what went down as far as Nate Dogg's child support, the cars that were put under Tupac that Tupac didn't drive, all of those things. Now those were nefarious accounting, the malfeasance involving the accounting and putting that stuff under Tupac's name. That's where the wrong was done from that perspective. Now, one can say, well, that was the accounting firm. That was whoever who handled the accounting. I can't say for a fact that who said that should happen, but the buck did stop with Suge Knight from that perspective. The jewelry, that all of the jewelry and things that they put on, Tupac's, under Tupac's accounting, saying that he, had to pay for that. The cars, the Porsche, the Suburban, Michelle's truck, all of those things they said that was bought under Tupac, and they put that under his accounting. That was absolutely positively wrong, period. Bottom line, Tupac didn't owe that. But what I'm talking about specifically is the royalties. Death Row never had a royalty department. Death Row never did accounting for royalties. Death Row had an accountant in Mr. Steve Cantrock, but for some odd reason, Mr. Cantrock felt like he was threatened and so on and so forth. There was a lot of malfeasance going on in the accounting department as far as the accounting of expenses and things like that involving Death Row, like I said. And so when you understand that, like I said, charging Tupac with these other cars, this jewelry that he didn't buy, and all of these things after he died was wrong, period. You know what I mean? But like I said, that was an accounting thing, and I don't know who was in charge of doing what and who told who to do what, so who wouldn't be responsible for certain things. But putting it under Tupac's account was absolutely positively wrong, period. And the buck stopped with Suge Knight at that particular point. So I don't know who told who what. But also, when you understand that, you're going to understand now the facts and the truth based on the new information. And for the people who are aware of this, that Suge Knight didn't owe Tupac any royalties. Interscope owed Tupac royalties. Because like I said before, Tupac was still signed to Interscope Records. And this bail agreement and the contract and the power of attorney and all of the information contained herein proves that fact. And it also has Tupac's signature. So this is what he signed off. And like I told you before, Tupac was actually still signed under his own record label, Out the Gutter Records, at that particular time. So this is to clear up and bring new information involving that situation. And like I said, yeah, these are the facts. Your boy DELRAY, straight game.